I think that the group that you've been destroying, Raj, in the offseason here for the Broncos from last season, the running back unit.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I think Sean Payton deserves a ton of the blame for that because there was zero desire to create continuity at the position. And that doesn't necessarily just...
was there zero desire to create it, or was he in the Michael Malone sphere of, I don't have it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to force this. Because it feels like it does feel like there is a, especially with like a second round draft pick, that is a primo pick. And they utilize that on a back. And that's a guy that they had that they said they would have even considered taking at the end of the first round.
You remember what I said about the way Sean Payton called the game? It really, really, really helped out an offensive line. It really helped out a rookie quarterback. But also the way that Sean Payton called a game, it's really hard for a running back that never gets into any flow, any form of rhythm, doesn't even understand how a particular run that Sean Payton calls, how it fits, because a lot of times you have to see the run 2, 3, 4, 5 times before you know exactly how that run is going to fit and where the openings are going to be against that particular defense that day. Because everybody comes in with a different defensive game plan of how they're going to fit the run plan. He never gave any of the running backs any form of opportunity. I'd say maybe outside of Javonte. At times it felt like he was letting Javonte get into a flow, and Javonte just wouldn't take the rope. He would just spit the bit every time, it felt like. But he never did it with Jaleel McLaughlin. When did you ever feel like, man, Sean's really giving him a chance to get into the flow running the football?
Well, didn't we talk about that, though, yesterday, that he doesn't love finding a bell cow back? Or are you asking me a different question?
I'm asking the question of, for the Broncos to be that dark horse Super Bowl contender, if you have the number one run block, if you have the best unit in the offensive line in pro football,
top 5 run blocking, number 1 pass blocking,
should you not lean more into running the football and finding a running back that is at least capable of knocking on the door of 100 yards? We still haven't seen anything like it.
Javonte had 139 attempts last year and 11 starts and 17 games played, 513 yards. So give me the attempt numbers, the rushing attempt numbers from RJ Harvey this year that would satisfy you with going, he is committing to the game. He is committing to the run game and trusting his offensive line to open up holes and trusting the back.
Assuming health.
Assuming 17 games. Yes.
100% has to be above 200 carries.
Your total carries last year throughout the whole team were 461. 92 of those, let's just call it 100. 100 of those were Bo Nix. So you have 360 carries for the team. 139 of those are now going by the wayside for Javonte, right? Those are gone. Those are now automatically RJ Harvey's. Who are you taking the touches from then? Out of your, let's call it 360 rushing touches that you have this year, are you taking 70 touches from Jaleel McLaughlin? Are you taking 50 attempts from Audric Estime, who only had 76 rushing attempts last year in 13 games?
Just for context, you realize how many carries, how many attempts Saquon Barkley had?
I'm going to guess
200 I'm asking for what? How many am I asking for? Did I just say? North of what?
You said north of 2.
Okay, correct. North of 200 carries. How many carries did Saquon Barkley have?
260?
345.
Oh, man.
How many did you say Javonte Williams had?
Javonte had 139 last year. McLaughlin, 113. Estime, 76. Mims, when they tried to manufacture touches for him, 13 carries. Bidet, 11. Burton, 7. Watson, 4.
You'd have to get down to the 24th running back in the NFL before you are below 200 carries. 23 running backs in the National Football League had at least 200 carries.
Yeah, that's not okay. That's my
point.
Screams Michael Malone to me. It screams Michael Malone to me. Does it not? What? Find me the back at 250 carries. Find me the back there. Because that's
Gibbs.
All right, that's Javonte Williams.
Which you have David
plus,
Montgomery. So it's a little, I mean, you have a two-headed monster, a true two-headed monster.
That's Javonte Williams plus Jaleel McLaughlin is like 250 total carries. Both of those guys from last year.
You know what is a perfect path forward? The comp that I keep hearing for RJ Harvey. A little bit later, drafted back. Not quite as late as the guy I'm going to say. Really good rookie year. In his rookie year.
Oh, is it the kid from Tampa? Bucky Irving?
Yep. Minnesota running back. Actually played for me. He was a true freshman at Minnesota. Started. And then transferred to Oregon. Bucky had 207 carries as a rookie.
1,122 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Wouldn't that
Dude,
be
if you
sexy?
get that from RJ Harvey, you are not only are you a bona fide playoff team, you are competing for the division. You might win the division.
You might be knocking on the door of Ben Solak's prediction of being a Super Bowl dark horse.
200 carries, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Because remember this, Tampa had a very productive year from Baker Mayfield. They had a rookie running back who was drafted, I believe, in the 4th or 5th round.
You know what those 8 touchdowns would equate to from last year? The entire rushing total from everyone in your running back room last year. You had 8 rushing touchdowns. Bo added 4. 4 from Javonte, 1 from Jaleel, so that's 5. 2 from Estime, 7. 1 from Burton, 8. So you get 8 from RJ Harvey this year. You add in, let's call it 2 or 3 from Estime. Like he punches one in from the 2-yard line on second and goal. You get a couple from Jaleel McLaughlin. Maybe he breaks off a 20-yard run from the 17-yard run from the 17. You know what I mean? You get a couple there. You're talking about 12 to 14 rushing touchdowns total on the year from your backs. Add in another 4 to 5 from Bo because he's going to scramble for a few. Yeah, you're talking about big time. You're talking about 11, 12 win territory. That's what happens if you get that type of back.
One thing that I see about Bucky Irving in this group of running backs, a lot of the group between, I'd say 250 total carries last year and 150 carries, a lot of them had between 13 and 15 games played. Bucky Irving, as a rookie running back, had 17 games played. Boy, would you love to see that from RJ Harvey. In fact, I think you need to see that from RJ
Is
Harvey.
he the most pivotal piece of this offense? Like, does the season, assuming we don't get regression from the quarterback, because I planted my flag, right. Bo is impervious to the sophomore slump. I don't think he's going to. I think he might be the same quarterback as he was last year.
Slightly better.
Maybe slightly better.
You typically get better if you do the same thing over and over. Reps.
And again, the team insulated around him. That's what they did with the defense, with the running back, with getting a possession-based receiver in the 3rd round and Pat Bryant. Harvey's success might be the most pivotal thing for this team returning to the playoffs.
It might be the difference between being a playoff team and being a playoff contender. Like, you're in it to contend.
Yeah, the difference between getting blown out by 30 or actually throwing a pretty
getting
solid
into second,
punch.
Third,
yeah,
potentially into a AFC championship game. Because I think if you get those numbers, the Bucs they won a playoff game this year, if I'm not mistaken. Won a playoff game. With the production that they had from Baker Mayfield and a rookie running back in Bucky Irving of 207 carries for 1,100 plus yards and 8 touchdowns, what'd the Bucs do? They won the first playoff game?
They won. No, they lost to the Commanders.
Oh,
in the wild card round.
It was a good game.
Lost by 3.
Okay. Good regular season. But you know what the Bucs didn't have that the Broncos have?
The elite defense.
A real defense.
I mean, they do have 41 passing touchdowns from Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker.
Baker balled out last year.
Year.
That dude had 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 picks last year. That's a hell of a season, 4,500 yards through the air.
How many Bo have? 28?
Bo had 29 touchdowns, 12 picks, and just north of 3,700 yards. If you can get Bo, let's add to this projection, right? So if we're talking about ways that the Broncos can go from a 30-point ouster in round 1 to dark horse Super Bowl contender.
Go from good to great.
Go from good to great.
That's what it is.
You have to get what we just said from Harvey. 1,100 yards, 200 plus carries, 8 touchdowns, right? You get that and you're looking great. Bo has to go from 3,700 yards through the air to 4,000. He has to go from 29 touchdowns through the air to 33 to 35. That's a big jump. But 33 to 35, then we're talking. And then the interceptions stay between 12 and 14.
I think the key to that's going to be a guy named Evan Ingram.